Hello, and welcome to this documentary about how the role of women has changed in the history of theater. The aim of this project is to show how women were portrayed in the past and how they are portrayed today. It will be done by looking at three different plays. The first one is the Agamemnon, an example of a Greek play. The second one will be Othello from the Renaissance or Shakespearean times. The last one will be the musical Mamma Mia, a representation of the modern-day woman. At the end of this video, you should have a better idea of how women were portrayed during the ancient theater, during the Renaissance theater, and during the contemporary one. The ancient Greek population was the first to build stages where people could act. Those were called amphitheaters. As you can see on the projection behind my back, they were characterized by their semicircle shape. They were structured like this because of the absence of microphones at that time. They believed that with this shape, the audience could better hear the lines of the play. They were built completely out of rocks and didn't have any wings to go on and off stage. Moreover, the performances had to be done during the day because they didn't have lighting equipment like there are today. In Greek plays, there were both male and female roles. However, men portrayed the female characters too, because it was a common belief that women must not act. In the Agamemnon, written around the 480 BC, the protagonist is a woman, Clytemnestra. She wants revenge on her husband, and in their monologue she explains that she wants to kill him as he made her suffer. In the end of her speech, she addresses to all women in general, saying that they all suffer the same way because of their husbands. This play shows that women were constantly in pain because of their husbands, and the only way for them to be free was to kill their man. Old man of Argos, had this my husband. He had been slain, that he was dead. For dead below, no matter triply dead, dead by one death for every form he bore. Women, why tarry ye, whose task it is to spread your monarch's path with tapestry? Swift, swift, with purple strew his passage fair, that justice led him to a home at last. He scarcely looked to see. The theatre during the Renaissance period was mainly in England in the Shakespearean times. This type of theatre during this period of history is also known as Elizabethan theatre. Shakespeare initially wrote his plays for the royal family, but he quickly became famous and his plays became the main attraction at the theatre named after him. The pictures behind my back are photographs of the reconstruction of the Shakespearean Globe in London. It is in open air, the audience is in a semicircle, and there are no lights or microphones. These characteristics are the same ones explored in the ancient Greek period. The only difference is that the actors and part of the audience are covered by a roof. In the Renaissance, female roles were still interpreted by men. On the other hand, women were seen by Shakespeare as the mind and soul of their husbands, but their men always took the merit. Sometimes women roles were evil, but very intelligent at the same time. The famous tragedy Othello, written in 1603, shows themes of jealousy, because Othello believes that his wife Desdemona is cheating on him, and therefore he kills her. Mistrust, because Othello chooses to believe in his enemy Iago rather than in his wife. And prejudice, because the other characters in the play complain because their commander Othello is black. Emilia, Iago's wife, is the only protagonist that explains what is really happening in the story, because she is the representation of truth. Emilia, in her monologue, talks about the inequality between men and women, and how she believes that behind every male there is always a female manipulating the situation.
But I do think it is their husband's fault if wives do fall. Say that they slack their duties or scant our former heaven in despite. Why? We have gauze, and though we have some grace, yet have we some revenge. Let husbands know their wives have senses like them. They see, they smell, and have their palates both for sweet and sour, as husbands have. What is it they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? I think it is. And doth affection breed it? I think it doth. It's frailty that thus errs. It is too. And we have not affections, desires for sport and frailty as men have? Then let them use us well. Else let them know the ills we do, their ills instruct us so.
The modern theatre is very different from the Greek and the Renaissance one. It is divided into 5 pieces: TV, radio, cinema, internet, and the pure theatre. This happens because the new technology has found many different ways to communicate and to entertain people, while in the past there was only one way. The most famous place to watch plays is in Broadway in the USA, where ancient and modern scripts are both acted and sometimes even combined together. The buildings are also very different, as you can see behind me. The stage is inside, it is squared, it has wings on the left and on the right, it has lighting and sound equipment. Therefore, plays can be done in the evening too, contrarily from the ancient Greek and Renaissance period. Today, female roles are acted by women, as gender inequality is decreasing every day. However, plays shows that females still have a harder life compared to male characters. In the famous musical Mamma Mia, Donna, the protagonist, is a single mother who struggled all her life working to get enough money to raise her girl, Sophie. Now, as her daughter is getting married, she has finally time to rest, and she imagines her life if she married a rich man. At the end of the play, she meets Sophie's father 20 years after he left her. Initially, she is not willing to see him again, but in the end, she decides to forgive him, and they even get married. This is an example of how sometimes women can survive without their men, but how they will still be willing to forgive anything he will do to them.
Well, Sophie's wedding is going to be my jackpot, girls. I need a break. A holiday. I've been running this hotel for 15 years, and I've never had a day off. I work a night, I work a day to pay the bills I have to pay. And still there never seems to be a single penny left for me. In my dreams I have a plan. If I got me a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work it all. I'd fool around and have a ball. Money, 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 always sunny in a rich man's world. Money, 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 always sunny in a rich man's world. All the things I could do if I had a little money. It's a rich man's world. I've been cheated by you since I don't know when. So I've made up my mind, we must come to an end. Look at me now, will I ever learn? I don't know how, but I suddenly lose control. There's a fire within my soul. Just one look and I can hear the ring. One more look and I forget everything. Oh, oh, mamma mia, here I go again. My, how can I resist you? Mamma mia, does it show again? My, just how much I missed you.
In conclusion, the role of women has changed throughout time, as the rest of the world did. Although ladies have been portrayed differently throughout the years, we have seen that there are still some similar characteristics, such as woman's smartness, braveness, and their bond with men. The woman behavior will always be affected by men. These features of female personality will forever exist in the dramatic representation of women. In the future, we will probably continue to see a change in the role of women in many different plays, although it is hard to predict how. Yet, hopefully women will not lose the freedom of acting and be part of the artistic world that they gain during time. Thank you so much for watching this documentary. I hope you find it helpful and that you have learned new things about the change of the role of women in the theater throughout time.